let's put some focus on the current format, because like I said, nationals are this weekend. This year we're winning. Hell yeah, this year we're winning. Surely. Fifth, you know what they say? 5 times the charm. What are your thoughts on Masterpiece? Can it be unbanned? The thing is, probably. It probably could. But it would be... Like, the thing is, it probably wouldn't make that much of a difference, but you still don't really want it, right? I don't really want it. It probably could, to be honest. To tell you the truth, I don't think Masterpiece would be the biggest problem right now. Have you ever won nationals? No, I haven't. The closest I've gotten was second place in 2015, I think. Check out my Serbian nationals winning deck list. Oh yeah, congratulations. It is a very, I mean, there's not that much to check out here. You've just, it's Dinkabui's deck, but you've changed Gammas for Ashes. Everything else is pretty much the same. The Ibli is kind of interesting. I wonder what you're doing with the Ibli. Is that for Kashtira? Or like in general, I guess, for some decks, like branded and shit. War crimes mainly. Cash branded evenly. Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's just that I'm not sure if I like it, because like a lot of people are on that Lingaribo, especially in Kashtira. It's like now with 2 less Arise Hearts, I feel like Kashtira extra deck is kind of open. Like you kind of have the room to play whatever you want, and I feel like Lingaribo is a nice safety net for Kashtira. But I mean, it still is annoying for them, because it still is annoying because you still have a monster on the board, so maybe it's fine. But yeah, I mean, it's a solid list. I like it. It's not bad. I like it. All right, let me quickly hop on Dueling Book. So like I've said before, my personal, in case you're, I mean, people are always interested in what I think and what I'm going to play. Normally I don't like telling you guys what I'm gonna play at a tournament. That's how we usually do it. I tell you my honest opinions about the stuff, but I don't tell you exactly what I'm going to do, because I don't want to put myself at a disadvantage. This time around, it's obvious anyways what I'm doing in this format. You guys know what deck I'm interested in. You guys know what deck I like in the current format. I am going to play I'm 99% sure that I'm going to be playing Runick Spright. I haven't finished my deck list, and of course I don't want to publish my final deck list for the event before the event starts. That'd be stupid. But I'm going to be playing, I'm between Runick Life Twin and Runick for Hire. I'm not sure which version I'm going to settle for yet. We've talked about the pros and cons of both versions plenty. Now I don't want to spend too much time today talking about those two decks specifically, because we've done that a lot in the last couple days. So if anyone is interested in specifically those two decks, I encourage you to check out the most recent VODs on Twitch or on YouTube. You can go !YouTube and check out the VOD channel. I'm not sure if all of it is already up yet, but it will be in the upcoming days, like latest tomorrow probably. All the information about, like, there's a lot of solid, I think, a lot of solid Runick Spright theory in the last couple streams. So we don't need to cover it today, because I feel like I would just be repeating myself, and a lot of regular viewers would probably be annoyed by that, because I've been talking about that non-stop the last couple of days. just know that I'm currently on like I'm currently on Runick Spright. I don't know if it's gonna be for hire or Life Twin. I'm leaning more towards Life Twin, but it's not been decided by any means. So that's like 99% what I'm gonna play. The 1%, I'm also gonna be honest, the 1% of what I am somewhat considering to play, but it's mostly copium, is Vanquish Souls. I don't think I will. I really don't think I will. I just don't want people, if I actually end up doing it because I end up being crazy or something, then I don't want people to be like, hey, but you told us you're gonna play Runick for sure. It's like there's a very, very, very small chance that I cope too much on Vanquish Soul because I really like the deck. I think it's so cool. I don't think I will. I am not at the point where I would do something like that just for the content. Like if it ends up being Vanquish Soul, then only if I get convinced by the deck, which currently I am not. Currently I am not. So that is my standpoint currently for the format. A few things that I want to do today that I also think are helpful for most people here is I want to take a look at some of the biggest contenders in order, basically, in the format. And I want to create something. I always do this when I prepare for events, and I haven't done it yet. Is I want to basically go on DB and I want to create the what I think is the standard to be expected deck list for like the most popular decks. Like for example, Kashtira. When you're playing against Kashtira, what do you expect to be in their deck? Like for example, I think it's very important to realize that a card like Forbidden Lands, I think is currently in everyone's deck. If you're playing Kashtira, I feel like you're a madman if it's not, right? And like Branded, what is the standard Branded list and the standard Labyrinth list? Those type of decks that you're going to expect to see a lot of. You need to be aware. It's not enough to just be like, yeah, I'm expecting Kashtira. It's really important to also know what type of cards they're going to be playing. Did you already talk about the French Nationals? Sorry if I missed it. The finals between the last two champions was a great story. Oh yeah, we watched it live even. We were here on Sunday. We've talked about that a lot. It was a great timeline. I was here where we watched it and everything. It was very cool. Okay. Expect 3 copies of your opponent's nose in Vanquish Soul list. Yeah, that I literally I don't understand where it's coming from, but I guess it's here. All right. Why don't we start with? Why don't we go top to bottom in terms of the breakdown, right? Because the most popular deck actually is Spright. Now, when I say Spright, this obviously includes different version of Spright, and we don't have all the deck lists, but when I'm preparing for Spright, let's see, where's Spright? That is still the list from last format. So you don't play the Gammas, you play 2 starters, you pretty much always play Prosperity. Teleport goes. Not sure about Book of Moon. This is like the baseline that you're expecting. You probably don't play that. Don't know about the extra deck. You don't play 2 Zeus anymore. You don't play 2 Sprint anymore. Not sure if you play Nightmares. What would I do with Melfi Spright? I would definitely play Ash and Imperm. Prosperity. The rest is kind of up in the air. You can kind of do whatever you want with this. Yeah, I like Dark Ruler. I think Dark Ruler is fine. Talents seems fine. Because you're a Zeus deck. That seems nice. Fenrir seems decent, honestly. Maybe you just play 3 Fenrirs. Why not 2 Zeus? Still 6 copies of Unicorn. Maybe if you have, maybe you play 2 Zeus specifically for that, for Unicorn. Yeah, Unicorn can be annoying. What do you think about the list of Evil Twin Spright that won Spanish Nationals? We're also going to revisit that one, yeah. It's also not bad. I'm still not sure if I like Double Cross, but in the Melfi version, it's kind of nice that you can do Double Herald Negate. Maybe some more... Maybe some more Spright Red and Carrot seems okay. I feel like if you're playing Dark Ruler, TTT, Double Cross, Thrust is good. Thrust is not bad here. Yeah. I don't hate the idea of playing Thrust. I don't know if I would. Nib? I don't like Nib this format. I don't like Nib. I don't like Droll. The hand traps here, honestly, I feel like there's not that much more you can do. I don't like main decking most of the other hand traps. I'm not a fan of Droll. I'm not a fan of Nib. I don't think Veiler is good enough. I don't like... what else is there even? Ghost Ogre isn't good. Bell is playable, but not great. Econ is playable, but not great. I feel like this deck has sufficient non-engine almost for this format. I feel like you want more consistent ways to pop off. Maybe you do play 2 red, 2 carrot. I've been doing that in Master Duel and I've been liking it. I could see this. Swap Frog? I don't like Swap Frog. I genuinely don't like Swap Frog. I think Swap Frog is a worse normal summon than red or carrot. I would rather open red plus blue than Swap Frog plus blue. Unironically. This seems consistent enough for Spright. I don't know if there's a impactful one-of you can play. Called by? Called by... Called by seems okay. Duster seems okay as well. You could play Duster in main. Not bad this format. Like Duster is okay this format. It's bad going first, but your deck should be pretty good going first. Only problem with build like these is the follow-up. That's the generic problem of Spright, I think, in this meta. Like pure Spright has follow-up problems. But that's... your follow-up in this version is a little bit better if you play more copies of Spright Red and Carrot, because you can basically... A lot of the stuff you do on turn 1, you can do again on turn 2. I think you always play Gamma Burst. Maybe you play Gamma Burst. I've kind of been changing my mind on Gamma Burst. I've never liked it. I still don't love the card, but I've kind of changed my mind on it being bad. I think it's playable. Maybe this is fine. Just so you don't have to worry about follow-up. You just kill him on turn 2. Yeah. This is fine. This looks reasonable. This looks reasonable. This is roughly... I think this is roughly what I would do. This is what I would roughly do if I was going to bring Spright. I'm not going to, but this is roughly what I would do. Side deck. I don't want to go through side decks for every single deck right now. Let's just... extra deck. You probably don't need Cerberus. Phoenix is nice with the anglers. Ibli? I would never main deck Ibli. I would never main deck Ibli. Maybe you side it, but I would never main deck it. Baguska out? You probably played Donner. You can't play Azalea yet. The Synchro Melfi isn't needed. I've been liking it in Master Duel. That's why I threw it in here. Like, I know it technically isn't. Like, I know you can technically play without it, but I do like it. Second sprint is staple? Why is the second sprint staple? Someone explain that to me. Why do I need a second sprint? I don't really see why. IP? We could play IP, but the problem is we need to play the targets for IP. We need to play... If you play IP, you probably need... Like, Avramax... I don't think IP is good. No, I don't think IP is good. I don't want to have IP on my end board. I don't want to have IP. I think, if anything, I want Djinn Buster. I think you want to end on... I think you want to end on Sprint, Melfi of the Forest, Red Carrot. That's roughly what this deck should end on, plus non-engine. I think that's roughly what you end on. Mannequin Cat? You could play Mannequin Cat. Yeah, this is roughly what I would start testing with. This is roughly what I would start testing with. I don't know if it's a final version, but this is roughly what I would start with. As far as Melfi goes. What's the second biggest? Kashtira. Kashtira. So we already have a baseline here. I think you play all those cards. Maybe you don't play. I've seen some people not play Ogre. I've seen some people also... I mean, you can play less Rice Hearts. I've also seen some people play Go Second Kashtira decks. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm really not sure how I feel about going second Kashtira. It's not bad. I don't think it's bad, but I'm also not sure if I think it... Like, I think this deck is for... If I'm looking at it from other decks' perspective, I'm mostly scared of Kashtira when they get to start. A lot of decks, like Dragon Link or something, I feel like it's scarier when Kashtira goes first for a lot of decks. Kashtira, I think you play Ash Imperm and then Shifter. Like, Shifter is interesting in Kashtira. Well, Shifter is never interesting. Shifter is cringe, but the thought process behind Shifter is interesting because basically you have two options, and I think neither of the options are wrong or right. But you can either main deck the card because it's good against a lot of other decks, or you can decide to side deck it because it's so bad in the mirror, right? So basically, you either respect the mirror match and put it in the side deck, or you say, screw it, I accept the dead card in the mirror match. I think it's too strong in other matchups. I think both solutions are fine. I think I personally would rather side it, but I don't think it's wrong to main deck it. I think you can. I expect more people to do it. I expect more people to main deck it than not to main deck it. So I'm gonna keep it in there. Lance is great right now in cash, and so is probably Talents. Maybe this? This looks about right. Book of Moon is an option. Like, this would be... If you want to respect the mirror, you could do something like play Book of Moon instead of Shifter. This would respect the mirror match a little bit more. Right? This is like the better way if you want to respect the mirror match. Right? Dark Ruler is an option. Dark Ruler is okay this format. Dark Ruler is an option. Thrust is an option. I've just never, I have never main decked thrust so far. I have never made experiences with main decking thrust. I've never been a huge fan of thrust in the main deck. I liked siding it usually, but I haven't been a huge fan of maining it. Desires kind of needed for consistency. Some people do play Desires, yeah. Maybe you don't need the Ogre. Maybe you can... But then are you happy with only one Scareclaw Kashtira? Maybe you do this? If you play Desires? Going first, Ogre and Trap is real nice. Yeah. But then you have to cut non-engine. I don't know if I love that. This... You go to one Scareclaw Cash. You definitely play two Rysard. You could... Yeah, I guess this. It's reasonable. Something along those lines. I don't have to build it perfectly because I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to play it. I just want to have an impression of what it roughly looks like. But those are... The cards on screen right now are mostly the cards I would expect from Kashtira. Most of this. I don't think there's many other cards that I would use in Kashtira right now. That's most of the options you have, I think. Right? Roughly this. Thoughts on Evenly in the main? There's a couple decks where I like Evenly. Basically, I think Evenly is good if your deck fulfills 3 criteria. Like, your deck has to do all 3, in my opinion, to make Evenly good. Your deck has to win really easily when it goes first. Even if it draws 1 dead evenly or 2 dead evenlies. Like, your deck has to be very strong going first to play evenly matched. Second of all, your deck needs to be able to win against a Rysard in main phase 2. Because if you play against Kashtira, you activate evenly, they always keep the Rysard, and there's just some decks where that's just enough. Like Dragon Link, for example. There's no reason to play evenly in Dragon Link against Kashtira, because you go battle phase, activate evenly, they keep a Rysard, you lose to a Rysard in main phase 2. It's like pointless. So in decks like those, I wouldn't play evenly. Not in the main deck. You can maybe side it for other matchups, but I would not main deck evenly in decks like that. And then the third thing is, like, in order to use evenly, your deck needs to be able to bait at least 1 negate. Because some decks, like Spright, they will have the carrot. And you need, like, if you don't have a way to bait the carrot easily, then evenly is also not very good, because you throw your battle phase away just to bait the carrot. If your deck can fulfill those kind of categories, then I think evenly is fine. Which I think the only deck that really applies to right now is pretty much, like, some Runick decks can do that, but I'm not even sure if I want to play evenly in my Runick deck. I'm not sure if I can do that in my Runick deck, if I want to. So, I don't know. Rika can play evenly. Like, Rika can play evenly, but Rika is like... Rika doesn't do all those things, right? Like, if you evenly Kashtira, I'm pretty sure you can still lose to a Rysard with Rika. And I'm also pretty sure you don't have that many great ways to bait carrot, for example. Right? Like, in those types of decks, basically, when you care a lot about a Rysard, and you care a lot about, like, negates like Carrot or Baron or whatever, because they're really annoying, I think it's just better to play Dark Ruler. I think it's just better to play Dark Ruler in those decks. I don't know. You'll do some remote duels against viewers one day. We've done that before. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think it's the best form of content. In general, I've seen a couple people today ask me if we're gonna play. The thing is, very often, because there's no good online simulator for TCG, I find that the streams where I just play DB, they do the worst. They spark the least amount of interest, and they also are the least entertaining to me. because it's just like DB is just not great to watch. I feel like I'm working on ways to make good IRL gameplay content. I am working on it. We've talked about it. We've talked about it last week or in the last couple days that I'm thinking about doing one of those, like I'm thinking about getting a GoPro and playing like locals with it, so I can capture my gameplay, and then we can like on stream watch that and talk about the thought process and stuff like that. I think those types of contents are very good gameplay content. I think there are good ways to make gameplay content, and I'm working on it. But like DB just isn't exciting to watch, and the thing about remote duels is you really can't interact with chat while you're doing remote duels. At least I can't. I find it super weird to have one opponent that is like sitting face to face basically, and I'm talking to them and I'm interacting with them. I can't maintain chat interaction. I can't tell you guys what I'm thinking right now. I can't show you my hand even, because if I show my hand to the camera, then they are also gonna see it. It's just not a great way to... For me, it's not as enjoyable of a content. Like those streams, they don't do as well as my streams where I just cover theory and deck building and whatnot. It's just that as of now, I think there's better ways to create content for the TCG than playing DB. Right? But just let it be known that I'm hearing your concerns. I'm hearing your concerns, and I'm working on ways to make like good gameplay content happen, because I do want to do that too. I think it's stupid that like we don't have a great way to play the Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game as a streamer. You know what I mean? Like I think it's dumb that we don't have that. So I'm working on it. I want to make it happen, but I am not quite there yet. Anyone else waiting for Milano to give them their nose back? Yeah, everyone is desperately waiting, because no one understands why it's gone either. What does a Kashtira extra deck look like? Surely you play utility shit like Lingaribo and Goddess now. You played prosperity targets. You probably played 2 Zeus because of Unicorn in the mirror match. Dracosac maybe? Flare metal maybe double big eye. Maybe don't play Goddess. Double big eye. I could see something like this. Omega. You think Omega is better than these? Do you play all 3 here? Omega, Baron. There's a couple options. Omega, Baron. You probably don't need Garura. Yeah, you're right. You probably don't need Garura. Skull Knight. Maybe. Skull Knight. Yeah, there's some options. Flare metal is an option. Some people... there's also the Moth that can attack directly, right? Titanic Moth. There's options, but you have plenty of room. Maybe you can even ignore the Lingaribo. Because, like... Does Lingaribo even help that much against Ibli? Because the problem is, yeah, you can link off Ibli, but you still have a monster on the board. So you kind of still lose to Ibli, no? It's still kind of whack. So maybe you just say screw it and don't play Ibli. Don't play Lingaribo. You can crash, but yeah, maybe you don't need 3 Shangris. Maybe it's something like this. And then maybe you side, or I don't know. We don't need to optimize the extra deck for Kashtira players. Most of this shit doesn't come up anyways. Kashtira done. Yeah. Branded. Now for branded, I honestly have no idea. As you can tell, this is still empty. What does a standard branded list even look like? Do we have many like deck lists from these events from branded? Branded, no list. There's a branded list from top 64. Oh yeah, branded fusion. That's probably here. Albaz. Aluber. Opening. Tragedy. Do they still do Tragedy Adlib 1-in-1? Is that still a thing? Quem. Cartesia. They play like 1-2. Deployment. I expect a lot of them because I think I would do that too, to play 2 or 3 ashes with Crossout. I think I would do that if I was playing branded. Crossout and called by. Bestial. I've seen a lot of people do this. Then they do branded Lost with Albion. Merc. Gold Sark Foolish are options for sure. Oops. Puppet? Do you think... Are people actually still doing Gimmick Puppet? Have we not moved on? Are we still doing Gimmick Puppet? We have openings. It's not good though. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's good to play. I don't think it's good to play the Gimmick Puppet, but that doesn't mean people aren't doing it. Something not being good has never meant people won't do it. That has never been the case. Oh yeah, branded in red, of course. 1 or 2. Retribution seems nice. This is like the stuff, this is probably the stuff you kind of have to play, right? I mean, the Crossout and Ash is probably debatable, but I think most people are doing that. I agree with that. Springgan's Kit. Yeah, I don't love that card, but you can play Dark Magician for Dragoon. Come on, I can't type. Dark Magician and Dragoon is an option. Isn't there a branded and high spirits line again? Dude, I don't know. It feels like every 2 weeks someone comes up with a new branded and high spirits line that's supposedly super busted, but then at the end of the day, no one really uses it. It's kind of what branded does. People, they just don't want to admit that their deck just loses to Ash Blossom, so they come up with new lines that at the end of the day, no one really uses, like Nadir Servant or something. Super Poly is an option. I don't think it's a staple. Patchwork Engine is good again. I like Patchwork. Allure is an option. Patchwork is an option. I don't think we're gonna reach, chat. I don't think we're gonna reach a final branded deck list here. I'm just wondering if I'm missing anything. No Cartesia. Cartesia is up here. It's just blocked by the logo thingy. It's here. Just 1 Cartesia? I've seen most people play 2, so maybe the standard is 2. So like a solid 33 card core that I would expect in every branded deck. But how do we fill the other 27 cards? Well, hear me out. You could just do 7 more. What about that? What if we just did 7 more? You probably do Imperm because you play Crossout. That could be a solid thingy. Imperm. 3 Albaz is kind of mandatory. Albaz, okay. And then we have room for 1 non-engine. Let's say we do Dark Ruler or Talons. What do we do? Talons. Let's do Talons. There we go. 40 card branded. Doesn't this look kind of fine? Probably not perfect, but it's fine. Okay. Talents with 0 XYZs? Yeah, maybe it's better to play Dark Ruler or Super Poly. I don't know. I'm not planning to play branded. I don't want to go, like I said, I don't want to go too deep into this. I just want to I want to think about what other people might do. And I've been seeing a lot of people play Talents. That's what I know for sure. I've seen a lot of people on Talents in branded. Like, I've seen branded deck profiles and people are playing Talents. And then in the extra deck you play... Hold up, let me just type Albaz. Do you think people start playing Alba Lenidus now because of Dragon Link's success? I feel like they have to. I feel like if I'm a branded player right now, I see Dragon Link doing as well as it does. I feel like I throw a freaking Alba Lenidus in there. I would. I feel like I would. Double Jade, maybe 1 Lubellion's probably enough. This. You need the Grand Guignol. Need Chimera. Dragostapelia. Oops. Do you play Luluva Lilith? Titaniclad. You probably play Tulu Bellion just in case you play against Nightmare Unicorn. And maybe 3 Albions. Oh yeah, I forgot the Masquerade and Creatus. Let's take this out. How do you summon Queritus again? There's one card that summons Queritus. Is it Rinbrum? Or is it Grand Guignol? Grand Guignol. Special summon a Dogmatic. Yeah, you probably need that. You probably need the Queritus. The Queritus is probably what people play instead of Alba Lenidus most of the time, right? You play 2 Albion, 1 Lubellion. Really? Okay. Do you really need Masquerade? I don't know. I thought you did, but maybe you don't. Sprint? Oh yeah, Sprint for like Contact C, I guess. I don't know, something like this. Malong is funny. Yeah, but is it good though? Oh, it's because you can summon Albaz on opponent's turn and then fuse with anything. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you probably play Sprint for that. You play Sprint for that. Yeah, 100%. That's good. Yeah, that's good. That's a good use of Sprint. Okay. Garura you would only play if you played Super Poly, but right now I'm assuming no Super Poly. Because I don't think Super Poly is that good this format. I don't feel like Super Poly is that great right now. It's like fine, but most decks aren't super weak to it. It's good against Spright, Arise, the Mirror, and Lab. I mean, it's not that great against Arise Hard. It's not that great against Arise Hard. It's good against Spright. It's definitely good against Spright. But the fact that it also takes up a couple of extra deck spots isn't great. Because Branded, as we can see, Branded is already, I feel like, a little bit tight on the extra deck front. It's always been like that. It's always been kind of tight in the extra deck. I don't know if Super Poly is the best possible, like, tech card you can play. Like, thinking about how, like, other cards like Talents and Dark Ruler and whatnot are also pretty good. It takes just one Goro. I'm pretty sure you'd also want Mud Dragon. I'm pretty sure Mud Dragon is an important option. If you play Super Poly. I wouldn't feel great about playing Super Poly without Mud Dragon. Anyways, I know a lot of people have a lot of different opinions about Branded. Let's just call it a day. We don't have to find the perfect list right now. This one looks pretty solid. This is roughly what I would expect from Branded. I mean, some people will definitely go over 40 to fit some of those cards down here, which is fine, fair enough, but this is what I would pretty much expect in most Branded players' decks. I've also seen people do double Ash because they just want it for cross out. That's fine too. Have you seen the new Dino Link and Vanquish Soul support? I have, yeah, I have. We've already talked about it in the beginning of the stream. You have to watch the VOD, or I'm pretty sure it's going to be up on the Plus channel later. On the Clip channel on YouTube, I'm pretty sure the reactions to the support will be there. And then we have Spright, Runick Twin. Well, you know my take on Runick Twin Spright. Hold up, where is it? Runick, there it is. This is currently what I'm toying around with. I'm not sure if I want Sunny Snitches or more pink ones, or if I want Jet and Smashers. I'm not sure if I want multiple Jets or if I want more, you know. And then I have non-engine slots that I'm not sure how I'm gonna fill it yet. I'm still mad that I don't know if I'm not sure if I can play Droplet because it's so bad against Kashtira, but I would like to play Droplet otherwise, but probably can't. Have you made a D-Link a list for D-Link yet? I don't think I have one, but I saw the list from French Nationals was honestly pretty damn solid. So it was this, double Disruptor, and the Fusion, I think, are not mandatory, but I'm... Ravine. Boot Sector. Seifert. Chaos. Space. Quick Launch. Let me see if I can build it just from my memory. Bestial 33111. I like that a lot. Cola Serpent and the other Wyver Burster. It had, I think it was Ash Imperm Dark Ruler. I'm missing 4 cards because it was 41. Oh yeah, how could I forget? The best cards. Regained and Beast. And Levianeer. So it was those two, and I'm pretty sure it was 41. Oh yeah, Absa router. Honestly, I think this is a very solid baseline for Dragon Link. I wouldn't go much higher than 40 cards with this deck. I think this list is very good. Like, this is pretty much how I would play Dragon Link, I think. You play like, quote unquote, in my opinion, this is like a minimal Bestial engine because you want to play 3 Lubellion on 3 Magnamute because they're just cracked. And then you play one of the other ones as search targets for the option. That's pretty much exact. That's the minimum. Those cards are cracked. Those cards you play at the minimum. And then Rocket Package. You always play True Tracer. You always play Recharger. The Rocket Caliber, I have been told that this is mandatory by some people that have played a lot more Dragon Link than I have, so I'm gonna believe it. So the reason why this card is okay is because if they try to remove your Tracer from the board, you can target itself and bring out another tuner. That's why people have been saying Caliber is really important. And I can believe that. So, Seyfert and Baby Dragons, you obviously play. Yes. And so this is like, I feel like those 39 cards here. I mean, you can replace Dark Ruler, I guess. You can replace Dark Ruler with a different card. Like, you play Talents if you wanted to instead. Not sure which one's better. But this is the baseline Dragon Link list that I think is just solid. And then Mathieu played this. Which I'm not sure if you need it, but yeah. So the extra deck was... For the extra deck, I have a change, though, that I would make. The extra deck... I don't think was perfect. Hold up. Moral End. He played Furious, of course. Striker Dragon. Histy. Ripple Burst. Savage. Pater Baron. There was Baron, right? Was there Baron? Surely. Romulus. Unicorn Axis, yeah. So I think there's a couple things here that are actually optional. And I will say, I think if you play Talents, either in the main or the side deck, which I would advise you to do because I think Talents is one of the best cards. Like, if you're playing a deck that does not restrict you from the X-Deck in any way, like Branded, for example. Branded it doesn't apply to Branded. And it also doesn't apply to decks that don't have a battle phase like Runick. If you play a normal Yu-Gi-Oh deck that has a battle phase and can access any card from the extra deck that it wants, I think you should play Triple Tactics Talents and Zeus somewhere in your deck. Either in the side deck or in the main deck with the Talents and then the Zeus in the extra or the side deck, but this I think needs to be in here. And we've seen multiple occasions on stream. We've seen multiple occasions on stream where people played against Kashtira, activated Talents, took the Arise Heart, but didn't play Zeus. One of them was also a Dragon Link game. They didn't play Zeus, and then they took the Arise Heart with Talents, and literally, you know what they did? They attacked them, and then they gave it back. They gave it back. That was the Marincess dude, I think. Just took the Arise Heart, attacked, and gave it back. What the hell? Like, if you play Talents, please, even if your deck can normally not make it, please play Zeus. Even if your deck cannot make it, or don't play Talents. if you can't fit Zeus, sure, don't play it. But then don't play Talents, because it's not good against Kashtira if you can't make Zeus. Marin says locks itself into water, but you can just attack, you can just do like the thing is, if you Zeus Kashtira, you don't need to do anything else. Like you don't need to do your full shenanigans, everything. All you have to do is activate one card, force the Arisar, take it, attack, Zeus them, like you're fine. You don't need to. It's absolutely fine against Kashtira. Just take the Arisar, attack, slap a Zeus on top of it. Is it worth siding Zeus for that? If you want to respect Kashtira, then yeah. I think so. Like, I think Talents is one of the best cards against Kashtira if you play Zeus, while it is just a relatively mediocre card if you don't. Because if you don't play Zeus, you either just always draw 2 cards, which is still fine, but it doesn't really solve the problem, or you have to take the Arisar and then link it off somehow, which is a lot worse than making a Zeus. Like, linking off an Arisar is not as easy as making a Zeus. Maybe you choose not to play spellouts because of lands? Yeah, then maybe. But even then, Talents is fine because it draws 2 cards pretty much every time, right? So, cards that I think you can cut, and keep this in mind, please. I am not the most experienced Dragon Link player. There's people out there that have played way more Dragon Link than I have. I think Quad Boral and Dark, they feel kind of situational. I think Unicorn and Axis Code are probably good cards, but in a lot of games that I saw, they didn't really matter. So I think those 4 cards you could consider removing, maybe. But most likely Dark or Quad Boral. Most likely. Everything else feels like it's staple. If you play the fusion spell, of course. If you don't play the fusion spell, you can just cut the fusion. So, yeah. So that's Dragon Link, and honestly, I think I would always be playing those 36 cards in Dragon Link. Like, I've thought about it, and I think those 36 cards are pretty much optimal. The fusion package and the Dark Ruler, I think you can debate about. Everything else feels like it's just right. You know, everything else feels just right about this main deck. Side deck, I haven't really gotten into. What's the level 4 tuner for? Just an extender? Well, like, the thing is, it is an extender if you draw it, right? Special summon it to your zone of Dark Link monster points to. But it's mostly because people have been saying it's a problem if they try to get rid of your Tracer. You can target itself and then bring out another tuner, because Tracer cannot summon Tracer, right? It says except Tracer. So this is another level 4 tuner, so you can Tracer summon another tuner. It's just so that Tracer has the option to summon another tuner. And this one is, I think, the best one you can play. So I like that idea. I think it's solid. So, yeah. This is what I would say is the cookie cutter best possible baseline for Dragon Link. I like this a lot. I think this is a very solid looking list. I like the reasoning behind all of this. Plays all the solid cards as 3-ofs, plays all the optional, like the situational searchable cards as 1-ofs. Doesn't even have a single 2-off this deck. I like it a lot. The theory behind this deck is, oh no, it has Tracer, but that's fair enough. I lied. No Rocket Coder? That card isn't out yet. Alright, and now we're really getting into rogue territory. I don't know if we should. I don't have much insight into some of these rogue decks. Like Vanquish Soul, unfortunately, I wish we had Enzo's list, because that one is the most interesting, I think, out of these top cut lists, unironically. Because it was the Vanquish Soul deck with DPE, which I would be really interested in the deck list. But we don't have it. Unfortunately. We don't have it. Labyrinth? We can talk about Labyrinth. Do I have Labyrinth somewhere? Let me see. This is still from, like, ages ago. This is the Floodgate Labyrinth. Let's talk about IKEA Labyrinth. I'm a big fan of 3 Arianas. I'm a big fan of furniture. The furniture build in general. So I think this is the minimum you play. I think this is the minimum you play, and these are optional. I think the third welcome Labyrinth, honestly, I would be inclined to just play it. I like the consistency of it, but I mean, you have these guys, so maybe it's fine. I like the field spell too. I like the field spell a lot. I would also even consider a second Coup Clock. Didn't you say Lab is bad? I don't think Lab is bad at all, no. I don't think Lab is bad. I think Lab has this... Like, the problem of Labyrinth in this format is that it's theoretically a really good deck, but I think people are getting a lot better at beating it because they are preparing for it a lot more because people start respecting it. It's kind of like a branded problem where, I mean, people are playing cards like Ghost Bell right now, and their main reasoning for playing Ghost Bell is like, it's good against branded and it's good against Labyrinth, right? And Bell is really good against this deck because with Bell and Ash, you have 6 hand traps that just negate Big Welcome, and Big Welcome is really, really good. If you negate Big Welcome, that's really annoying for this deck because literally the entirety of the deck is now focused around setting up the trap cards in the right way, right? Now, chat, I think there's an ongoing debate in the Life Twin space between Pot of Extravagance, not Life Twin, Labyrinth, between Pot of Extravagance and Pot of Prosperity. Anthony Hanzo, thank you for the 3 months. Appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much for the support. Now, a lot of people are playing Prosperity. I think Prosperity right now is the more popular one. But I actually think I prefer Extravagance in this deck. I actually think I prefer Extravagance in this deck because with the furnitures, very often, I don't think it matters what cards you draw. I think it just matters that you go plus. I think it's nice that you just have more cards. I think that's more important than finding a specific card because this deck has a lot of redundancy, right? This deck has a lot of cards that do the same thing. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't have a starter card, you can find Ariana, you can find Chandelier, Stovey Torby, Big Welcome, Welcome. Like, they're all fine. They all kind of work. You don't need to find a specific card. You just need to find, like, cards, right? And so I like Pot of Extravagance in this deck a lot. I would probably play the third Welcome. And then the rest is, like, you probably play Erratic. For, like, the trap cards that you play, I'm a big fan of running something like Eradicator and Punishment. Those cards seem free. Fenrir, Evenly Imperm. Yeah, I like this card, maybe. Hold up. Fenrir, really? Fenrir seems a little odd to me. Fenrir seems a little bit odd because I feel like going second, sometimes surely you have monsters on the board already. Like, let's say you open Stovey Torby or Chandelier plus Lady. Sometimes you just have monsters, no? What happens if you discard Coup Clock for Storvey or Chandelier? Can you immediately get it back? Yeah, right? Or not? No? Okay, chat is 50-50 on this. I'm not sure. Like, the thing is, I know for example that I know that you can chain a Paleo when you discard it for cost, but I think that's slightly different. But what does work is you can discard Coup Clock and then you can use Stovey Torby or Chandelier as chainlink as like afterwards, and then it comes back. But you have to discard a different card. Maybe. That definitely works. I know that works, but I don't think it works if you discard it as cost. But I'm not 100% certain. What's the question? If I discard Coup Clock for Stovey Torby, can I immediately add it back? Probably not. Because it's not... You're not discarding while it's in the graveyard, right? You're not discarding while it's in the graveyard. It doesn't... Yeah. That doesn't work. Okay. Okay. Then maybe just one Ku Klok. I thought that was gonna be... That would have made it a little bit better. Then I think one Ku Klok is fine. Even though I think drawing Ku Klok is sometimes kind of nice, but it's a little situational. Rurushu4, thank you for the prime. I appreciate you. Okay, so what about, like... Ash seems fine in this deck. Ash is good against Branded, good against the Mirror, solid in some other matchups. Evenly seems okay. I could see why people are playing Evenly in this deck, although sometimes... I guess if you draw Evenly and you go second, you just don't use your thingies. You just go battle phase first. What about Strike to counter Bell and Ash? Strike... it's like... I see what you're saying. Strike would probably be good going first. But Strike seems awful going second. Well, it's not awful in some matchups, but like it doesn't immediately do anything. Wannabe for Chaos Angel? During the end phase, send this card from hand or field to the grave. Excavate cards. It is kind of interesting that it has a solid effect and it gives you access to the Chaos Angel. But like you, with the current version, you probably don't hit. That's probably the issue, right? You just like, you don't play that many traps even. So right now, I don't think I would with this version. This... Imperm? Maybe. Not sure what you even play in this deck. Imperm seems fine. The thing is, I don't want to suggest anything that isn't great because I haven't been playing as much Furniture Labyrinth. Skill Drain? Do they still play Skill Drain? Genuine question. I don't know. Do you play Skill Drain? Is that something I'm expecting? Yeah? Okay. Daruma? I can see some people playing a one of Daruma as an option. Yeah. Some don't. Yeah, I know some don't. I don't think floodgates are that important right now. I don't think floodgates are that important right now. But I think Skill Drain is like probably good. Called by? What for? Oh, for Ash. Yeah. Called by seems fine. And then probably one more hand trap or card for going second. The thing is, the reason why I don't like Evenly in this deck is because Evenly isn't good against Kashtira in Labyrinth. Because you evenly them and they keep a Rise Art, and a Rise Art is by far the most annoying card for you. Nibiru? I don't know if people play into Nibiru consistently enough. I really don't know. Nibiru has good synergy with furniture. The Nibiru combo is kind of funny. Yeah, the Nibiru furniture is kind of funny, where you activate Nibiru and then you chain furniture, discard it, so you just tribute, but there's no tokens, and you don't summon Nib. I mean, Nibiru, if you care about a Rysart a lot, if you care about a Rysart most, Nibiru is okay. Because it's, like, I think most Kashtira players play into Nibiru. The problem is other decks often don't. Like, Spright will usually not play into it because they either have red or they use Gigantic before 5. So Nib isn't great against Spright, and Spright is, by all intents and purposes, Spright is the most popular deck, especially if you combine it with Runick Twin Spright. That's like a solid 25% of decks where Nib pretty much doesn't win. Single Arise beats IKEA? Well, yeah, but game 1 they don't know that. Game 1 they don't know that. Like, after siding, if you play Kashtira against Labyrinth, after siding you just make a Rysart pass. 100%. 100% you just make a Rysart pass. But game 1, I think most Kashtira, and it's probably correct for Kashtira, to just do the combo where you end on a Rysart Shangri era. That's probably the best way to play Kashtira right now. Just end on a Rysart Shangri era and call it a day. Surely. I feel like. Which is like the... Hold up. That's like the standard 1 or 2 card combo? Hold up. Kashtira... I'm pretty sure that Unicorn does that, right? Unicorn, Theosis, Fenrir, Rysart, make Shangri, then Rysart banish Big Bang. Then you do this. Then you lock 1, and then this makes... Yeah. I'm pretty sure this is your go-to Kashtira 1-card combo. I've seen people do, like, this. This feels fine. Because people don't have... people usually don't play Nib or Lava Golem. That's like the 2 cards this plays into. Nib and Lava Golem. But those cards are not very popular right now because they aren't that good. And so it's probably correct to do it like that. Right? I feel like. So... in that sense, if you're scared of that, you can play Nib, but the problem is Nib is not going to be good against other decks. Right? Like against most other decks. Like does Branded play into Nib these days? I don't even know exactly what the standard Branded combo is. Yes, but it doesn't matter. Oh. There's no standard Branded line, so it's hard to say. Okay. Hold up. Okay. We're basing all of our... We are basing our entire judgment now on one singular test hand. Hold up. That's what we do. No, did I not save? Did I not save the deck list earlier? Oh no, it's Branded post Syac. Here, there it is. Okay, here we hard drew Merc. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. We hard drew Merc. Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure this doesn't play into Nib. I'm pretty sure that doesn't play into Nib because it's only branded fusion. Right? So a hand like this, would that play into Nib? Probably, right? I mean, the thing is, as a branded player, it's probably correct to play into Nib. Because like I said, I don't think Nib is good. Because even if you can use it sometimes against branded, it's not consistent. So Nib is, if we look at this, if you look at this spread, Nib is bad against Spright. Nib is, I would say, good against Kashtira if they don't expect it. Nib is situational against branded. Nib is completely dead against Runick Spright. Nib is good against Dragon Link. Nib is dead against Vanquish Soul. Dead against Runick for Hire. Good against Rika. Maybe, I don't know about that. Bad against Labyrinth. So it's like really, really 50-50. It's really 50-50 in terms of is it good or not against the deck that you're playing against, right? Like in some matchups it's good, in some matchups it's bad. Depends. If you open Nib plus Imperm or Ash, it's good against Spright. Okay, fair enough. I think decks that already play, like if you're playing a deck like the one we were just talking about, where you play, what's it called? Ash and Imperm already, maybe you can consider Nib as the last card. Because then at least if you're playing against a deck where it's technically bad because they have a negate, you can at least justify it. Okay, but I can draw it together with another hand trap and then it still works. That's fair. I can see that. That's a solid point. But I think these 37 is a solid baseline to look at with Labyrinth. The only downside, I think, if you play Pot of Extravagance is you might need multiple Chaos Angels because that card is really good. That card is really good, and you kind of don't want to lose it to Pot of Extravagance. Kind of cringe that you need to do something like this, probably. Right? You probably need to play 3 Chaos Angels. Which is annoying. Is Muckraker expensive now? I've seen a lot of decks play Muckraker. I wouldn't wonder if it... Oh yeah, somewhat. Somewhat expensive now. It's like 15 to 20 bucks. It's not crazy money, but that's like, that's respectable. That is respectable, for sure. I mean, it's a good card. So, yeah. Okay. You play 3 Entis because of punishment. You probably play Bucephalus and Garura. You don't have much room if you're playing Extrav. It's kind of annoying. How much is Chaos Angel? Dude, Chaos Angel is Chaos Angel still 40? Oh, yes. Oh, it's even going up. This might be the first time ever that I've picked up a card and it's going up in price. That was ironic. That's happened before, but... Oof. Oof. Okay. I'd play Lingoribo. Yeah, you can play Lingoribo as the last. I don't know. Do you have a DB link for the Dragon Link deck? Not yet, but I can hook you up with it. Hold up. Export, download link. There you go. Now you have one. I almost bought it at 45 USD twice and thought it would go lower. The thing is, when it released and it was 40 bucks, the thing is, I felt like it couldn't go that much lower than that, because it's like, sure, not every deck plays it, but it's a lot of decks do, and it's really like a one-off that you're gonna need for a long time. It's kind of like, it's not as good as Baronne de Fleur. I'm not gonna compare it directly to Baronne de Fleur, but it's kind of like a Baronne de Fleur situation where it's just gonna be a long-term one-off card that you need, and in a lot of future formats. So I was like, let's just pick one up. Let's just pick one up and have it, right? Don't have to worry about it anymore.